Hello, I'm Kyle, and I'm here with Jon Gay from JAG and Detroit Podcasts, and we're going to be talking today about what podcasting is like during this COVID-19 pandemic and how a college student or anyone is going to be able to get into podcasting and what the steps they should be thinking of taking in doing that process. So, hey John, how are you today?
I'm great, Kyle. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so can you tell us about your business and what you do for your clients?
Sure, my company is JAG in Detroit Podcast. JAG was my radio DJ name when I was here in Detroit. That's where the name comes from, and I'm based here out of Metro Detroit. And I have two sort of business models that I work with my clients on. One is a straight, simple edit model where they send me a file, they record their own podcast, they send me the file. I clean it up, I edit it, I take out the ums and uhs and likes and you knows and make the volume consistent, add in any intro or outro and put it together, send it back to them. And then I have other clients, again, businesses and nonprofits, where it's a more full service operation where I'll help them conceptualize the show with the idea, help them figure out who they want to interview, set it all up. I will record the interviews for them, and then I'll edit it, put it all together, and then publish it online to the websites and to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, etc.
How would someone start a podcast?
So the first thing you'll need is a microphone. Generally, you don't want to use the built-in microphone on your computer because the quality is not very good. You can get a really good microphone that'll plug right into a USB port on your computer for about 70 or 100 bucks. Pretty inexpensive compared to a lot of high-end equipment. And then you'll need a host for your podcast. Much like a website, your podcast has to be hosted somewhere and live somewhere. There are big names like Simplecast and Libsyn and Blueberry that are podcast hosts that generally will run you about $15 a month. And there are some free hosts as well. I prefer the paid ones because they offer you better analytics about who's listening, when they're listening, how they're listening, etc. But it doesn't take much to get started. The biggest thing I would tell anybody who wants to start a podcast is do it about something you are passionate for, because if you're talking about something that you don't have passion for, people will see right through that and they won't keep listening, because if you're not passionate about it, your listener will be passionate about it.
How would you say that COVID-19 has affected the state of podcasting and how you may podcast?
Because the technology has gotten to a point where remote recording can sound almost as good as if you're in the same room as a person. I'm in my basement studio right now, and I record almost every single one of my clients remotely from here in the house. I don't have to leave the house. They don't have to leave their home or office. I use a program called Squadcast, which is kind of like Zoom, except it's broadcast quality audio. I think so for me it's been good, but for podcasting in general, we saw an initial dip in the beginning when people didn't have commutes and everybody was working from home and they weren't spending time in their cars on the way to work or on the way home listening to podcasts. People are getting up later because they don't have to get out the door in the morning. So listening shifted an hour or two later into the day on average. But people, once they got settled into their new routines, found the shows that they really enjoyed listening to and just found different ways to listen, whether that's on a laptop while they're working as opposed to on their phone in the car.
Okay, John. Well, what would you say are some tips that you would give to people right now struggling during these times, during this COVID pandemic? Like, how would we stay sane?
You'll probably laugh, but my best piece of advice for that, Kyle, is get a dog. But I never had dogs growing up. My wife is a big dog person, and we had a dog who we unfortunately lost at the beginning of 2020. But we were kind of home during COVID. It was the two of us. It's really quiet around here without the dog, and there's a lot of dogs that need homes, and the shelters aren't always super operational because of COVID. So we went out and we adopted a dog right around Easter or so. We named her Jules, Jules, and she keeps us honest because she loves walks. She loves walks more than anything in the world, and excuse me, and she the minute 7 a.m. hits or the minute I get out of bed, she is crying by the front door, waiting for her walk. So not only is it nice for the companionship, but it keeps my wife and I active because we'll walk her for 2 miles in the morning, we'll walk her for 2 miles in the afternoon, and and despite the fact that we're not leaving the house much, it gets us out of the house, it gets us our exercise, it gets us our steps, and they say that nothing will ever love you unconditionally the way a dog will.
Thanks so much, John. Where would you say that people can find you? Not to like put a little plug in here, but I bet.
Oh, I'll always take a plug. I'll always be happy to take advantage of a plug. You can find me on my website, which is jagindetroit.com. JAGINDETROIT, jagindetroit.com.
Okay, thank you.